fire here in the round of 32. Griffin Colapinto, Jadson Andre are now the priority heat. And just getting started with the greatest of all time, Kelly Slater taking on Caio Ibelli in pumping hollow conditions, just the way you want it here at Super Tubos. Joe Turpel with Peter Mel, AKA the Condor. As we check out these conditions, 18 minutes on the priority heat. Kelly just getting started with Caio, both sitting inside the final five for the time being. This is gonna be a tube shootout, Pete.
I would say it better be. Man, it is blowing out each side. Lefts, rights, up and down the beach, it's everywhere. The overlapping heats are very exciting, tons of surf happening, and I would say that every surfer that still has a chance to wear a jersey today is ultra excited, along with the fans and us.
This is why you want to qualify for the Dream Tour, to get conditions like this. Looks like Kelly's opting for that forefin once again. This was the start of the heat for Kelly. Nice quick tube. There's the finish, but the crowd went bananas, just like it was a perfect 10. Griffin Colapinto against Jadson Andre got this one during the break.
Yep, and he's been riding a ton of waves in this heat, and he just keeps building and having more fun. He's got a pair of sixes right now. Jadson behind him, a bit too deep, but look at how hollow the conditions are with this tide dropping out. It still feels like to me that we could run through this low tide because it is so peaky.
Here comes Jadson again. Nice hollow cave. Gets a completion. Quick reaction off the lip. He'll lose the finishing move. But he's been nice and barreled this morning. He got out there on dark, got a lot of trainers, and was well prepared for the heat with Griffin Colapinto. Let's see what happened here.
Well, Jaddy, looking at these lefts, I mean, that's the thing that's pretty cool, is that there's equal lefts and right barrels. It doesn't feel like one's favored over the other. So there's opportunity for both the goofy foots and the regular foots. And just tried to get that move done. Got a little high side and went down. Kind of an awkward fall. But how good are the conditions? I mean, and this is what we come to Super Tubos for, because it's got that nice north wind. It'll take it and just blow offshore, and it'll happen all day long.
This is as good as it gets, so what a dream to have the world's best scoring conditions on a sun.
Unfolding. It keeps unfolding already, so why can't it keep going?
Here comes Jaddy up and out, battling with Colapinto. Still here in the round of 32. Round of 16, we got there quickly, is already on deck with Italo and Miguel Pupo stacked up in the draw. Kelly's opener comes in at a 5.0. Remember, he had a lot of success here when this event really popped up on the calendar. First, it was a search event. He got knocked out early. But then in 2010, he took a big win over Jordy Smith in the final. Next year, showed up, made back-to-back finals, was runner-up to Adriano de Souza. The interesting part about Kelly, though, is the other 7 events, he hasn't made it to finals day. As we look at Jaddy just stretching out the right, looks like he'll just kick out.
Yeah, early success for Kelly, but the conditions they're challenging here. I mean, we're very fortunate to have today happening right now. I mean, but we saw what was going on the first couple days. It was wild. There was moments. Today is the dream day. But it could be, you know, on shore. It can be just like beach break. I mean, it changes so much because of the tides. We've been harping on that all week long, and we'll keep doing it as we come back to this venue. But it is days like this is why we're here.
Compared to a pipeline type energy, there's so much power, but it is all sand. As we think about Kelly's longevity and his amazing career, I think maybe the year that might have stung the most with those early round losses, it was the year after he finaled to De Souza. 2012, he was in the title race with Joel Parkinson. Leone Montero took him out, gave him a 13th, which was pretty tough for his world title campaign. He lost to Parco at Pipeline at the following event of the season.
Yeah, crazy stuff. You know, and you just look at those stats and you're just like, hey, he's been in the title race for 2 decades. Unbelievable. It really is.
So much to celebrate with Kelly. 56 championship tour wins. And a 50-year-old that's still competing at the top of his game. He had a lot of joy at Pipeline, and then he talked about the ups and downs of pro surfing at an awkward moment at Sunset Beach, getting a interference in the overlapping format, the format that he helped create. When John took the wave in the opposite heat, McGillivray already had a 9, so he was already against the wall, but the trouble at Sunset continued. But it didn't take away from his intentions this year of enjoying every stop on tour. So far, a 5. Caio holds priority, waiting for his first wave to come through.
Well, they're in the non-priority heat, so they have to give way to Griffin Colapinto and Jadson Andre. And I would say that he won't do that same mistake he did at Sunset Beach in the overlapping format, or at least hope not.
Griffin with a 6.5 and a 6.17. Hasn't made finals day out here yet in his career, as a lot of tube attempts are going to be happening on the fly in this overlapping format.
Well, this fits Kelly's kind of approach here in the early stages. That first 20 minutes, they have the non-priority heat, so they're going to take the leftovers. But there's lots of leftovers here. There's some delicacies, some filet around. So Kelly be looking for that. And that's why we saw him quickly jump on that wave. But no make, so just a 1-point ride.
Kelly Slater winning his first world title back in 1992.
Wow.
It's an interesting era.
That's 20 years.
Yeah, it was a long time ago, isn't it? Yeah, it feels like more than that, 30 years. As we look at Kelly, last
it is
attempt
30
here.
years. Jesus, it is 30 years. My math is horrible. 3 decades, man, that's crazy.
Let's hear from Kolohe Andino on the beach with Luisa.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just really hard out there, but then the waves are really good if you get in the right spot. So, yeah, no, it's kind of just a roll of the dice.
Kolohe Andino talking to Luisa about the conditions out there, saying it was actually kind of tough out there, but when he found him, he felt good to get some scores and some barrels. We'll try to catch up with him in a moment. Caio Ibelli laying down a clean roundhouse cutback on that rusty surfboard. Getting some drive to the inside, throws the fins into reverse. He'll get the completion.
He is so gnarly, and especially in heats like this, he rises to the occasion I mean, every heat he does, but ultimately against world champions, against when he feels like he's kind of the underdog, man, he just comes out guns ablaze, and he just does that kind of stuff where it's undeniable that he is on point and that he wants this win.
2016 Rookie of the Year, a replacement wild card, getting the call up with Medina's absence this year. What'd you think, Pete?
Deep, came through pretty quick, but then the carve all the way around, the wraparound cutback, such a cool maneuver, especially when you keep the speed like he has done. And then last section surprises us with a little punch of the fins into reverse. So it gets 2 maneuvers done plus the barrel. Combination of major moves, that's part of the criteria. Using some progression with that little punt to the end. I mean, all the elements are ticked there.
Caio Ibelli has had a very interesting story in his career. Remember, he got injured at Margaret River in competition, had to miss a lot of events. When it came down to getting the wild card, he missed out on it. He was very vocal about thinking he should have earned his full-time spot on tour. It had gone to Kelly that year. Remember, Kelly was still dealing with an injury that he suffered from at J-Bay from 2017. So there was all this momentum building up to Kelly and Caio having a first matchup. Caio did get involved in that event at Margaret River in 2019 as the injury replacement, and he got the win over Kelly, and it was a pretty emotional victory for Caio. He'd been holding all that in of wanting to have his spot over Kelly full time, and he got a chance to go head to head. Meanwhile, Jadson goes straight down on the takeoff.
Tripped up.
And the Power Super Tubos getting the best of Jaddy there. And I think we'll have a good opportunity to catch up to Kolohe once again with Luisa.
Now, Kolohe was a super convincing heat out there, but...
Matt Biolis, my shaper. Yeah, works good.
And it's cold. Is this thick enough?
It's a 2 mil. I was warming my heat, but when I got out, the wind kind of made me cold, and we've been standing here for a little bit.
Well, going forward, do you have a plan ahead?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, hopefully later the waves stay fun and the wind stays clean, and we'll see what happens on the low tide. But yeah, I'm excited to advance this morning.
Amazing. Let's see what happens next. Back to you guys.
Thanks a lot. Kolohe Andino, you can tell he's freezing. At 2 mil, he probably thought he'd just be out there for a quick heat and come back into the hot tub in the Red Bull Athlete Zone. But Chloe's had a lot of success, not just in Portugal, but in Europe. France, Portugal were always his best events in his first few years on tour. Now that he's approaching almost a decade on tour, he's always been reliable out here. You think of his last 3 of 4 events in Portugal, he's made finals day. Back to Kelly here, Pete.
Kelly working to get into this one. Late drop. Can he get underneath it? There's that technique. Gets low to his board. And then the whitewater froth. That little touch of the lip, ever so slightly, took his arm off that rail there and ended up going down pretty quickly.
Now stalling in the tube, trying to run after an exit on the left. Looked like Caio Ibelli quickly trying to get a score on that left-hand barrel. Ibelli, an incredible tube rider, and we saw that displayed at Pipeline at the start of the season. Turning in his best start to date as a wild card. Scores coming in for Ibelli's start, 5.67. That was the tube to Roundhouse cutback. So just better than Kelly's 5.0. Here comes Jaddy up and out.
How much action is there, Joe? It's just nonstop. The cameramen are just probably head on a swivel. Actually, I guess there would be a camera on a tripod. Whipping it around. But I mean, yeah, it's I would imagine with all the action happening, and these surfers are making quick decisions too, right? So it's like instantly they're deciding, oh, this looks like a good one.
Thinking about Kelly and Caio, we mentioned the heat at Margaret River in 2019 that Caio won, but Kelly did get redemption later on that same season at Jeffreys Bay. So they enter this heat, 1 win apiece. This will break the tie. Rolling in now, Kelly down to the bottom, wide open pit, gets the exit. Stretches this one out for a backside blast off the closeout, stays on his feet. He'll get the lead with that wave.
Really cool. I mean, again, taking a wave that's like mid-size set, but technique was all there. Maximize the barrel, and then a beautiful hanging backside hook snap off the top to finish it. Gonna be another mid-range score, but just you can tell he's on point this morning, and this is why he could be inspired. Offshore conditions, opportunity to just get drained. I mean, that's exactly what the conditions that Kelly's been wanting to surf in this whole entire week. See that technique again, just being able to be so flexible at 50 years old to be able to just coil up, get super small through the barrel, but then extend out through his maneuvers. On point, Kelly. I mean, it is gonna be a small wave, so it's not gonna be a gigantic score, but probably in the good range.
But a solid combination of maneuvers there for Kelly. 6.4 for that wave. Jaddy just trying to create some space under Griffin Colapinto's priority. Jaddy still chasing a pretty big number of a 7.9. Andre went down pretty hard on that last wipeout, and I was just thinking about every event we've had so far this year. He's not afraid of taking beatings. From Pipeline to Sunset, at some point in a heat, he's going to end up upside down and getting split up by the lip, and then he wakes back up and charges once again. The guy has endless energy, and he's not afraid of going down.
No, I mean, his nature is there. Exactly that. Plus, he's basically matured and grown up on this tour and learning to ride those types of waves, you know, from Sunset Beach all the way to Pipeline to here. You know, in his first year when he came on tour and he was able to get that big win, I mean, that was incredible in his home break. But then all of the other stuff, he's always learning and growing. As you see now, another surfer doing the exact same thing, learning and growing, and already has a world title.
One of Jaddy's best friends, Italo, coming up next. And getting the make is Caio Ibelli. Outside of the barrel now, big front side float in the flats.
Oh.
Falling backwards. Did he hang on long enough to get credit for it?
I would say at this point, thinking about the panel upstairs, they are critical, need complete control to really sell it. We'll see here again, but look how deep he is, disappears from view for a long time. So this is gonna be a good scoring barrel because of how deep he was. And then the big float, I think maybe, yeah, we could probably give it to him. What do you think?
He had control and then almost looked like he just kind of fell off. It's very close. I mean, sometimes if there's a reason to show it incomplete, you'll see the score reflected that way.
Yeah.
But I like, he did stomp it. he rode away for a bit, so I think there is a chance he could get credit for that finishing move.
Well, and no matter what, the barrel was you know, not a huge set wave, but the fact was he was super deep, made the exit fairly clean, but the depth of the barrel is going to be where the majority of the points will come from.
Kelly throwing his hand up, wants an update on the situation. Back to Griffin's wave, Pete.
Wow, again, from behind it, bigger wave, and just see the spit comes out. That's the kind of intensity of the wave. When you have that kind of vapor coming out the end, you know the wave was intense and very hollow, so that helps the score.
He is such a natural when it comes to surfing, and especially barrel riding. Colapinto turning in a 7.83, really increasing the lead on Jadson. Jadson almost needs a perfect 10 now with 2 minutes to go.
Ouch. Well, anybody who has Griffin on their fantasy would have loved to add those few points.
He's just been switched on, even in the free surfs. He maybe did one of the biggest errors we've seen in Peniche after his heat win against his mentors of Nat Young and Kolohan Dino.
I mean, those are one of the, I mean, to me, that feels like one of the biggest errors, you know, ever. I mean, it was massive. So go to his Instagram if you want to check that out. Caio got a score.
Caio Ibelli, 7.0, 6.67, leads over Kelly. Slater needs a 6.28 now with 21 and a half on the clock. We talked about Caio's story, taking out John multiple times. He's had some entertaining, dramatic heats with Gabriel Medina, including here at Super Tubos in 2019. Gotten Kelly on the ropes at Margaret River in the past. He's just that danger man who believes in himself.
And it's not like freaks, right? A freak of nature kind of stuff. It's always, he's always in the heat, right? It's rare that he gets blown out. He's always finding the waves and competing at a high level, and always looking like he could be just that one wave away from a win. And this year, he's gotten a lot more wins. And that must feel really good with that momentum.
Oh, what a great start for Caio inside that Final 5 picture after the first 2 events. And remember, you know, the yellow jersey's already trading hands. Kanoa Garashi just took it from Bear Mamiya, but the next people we're looking at are Caio and Kelly to potentially get on top of the leaderboard heading into Bells. We're down to 22 seconds in the priority heat. Colapinto still out front. Jaddy with priority, trying to find a last effort. Here goes Kelly. He makes it, and then the lip lands on his head.
Again, question marks completely. It felt like it was another new section. He was going to go into it, so the barrel felt made. But then again, always that question mark when you come out, you know, because that was where it shut down. Let's watch it again. But wow, that was pretty impressive.
So a wild one for Kelly. What'd you think?
Deep, rides over the foam ball. Yeah, felt like the barrel was out of there though. But geez, it just would, you know, if he had just stayed low road, down on the beach angle here. And that was another section that he's thinking about either hitting or going and pulling back into. I don't know. See what the judges think.
Well, you see him ride out into daylight for a moment, but then the lip shutting down almost feels like he entered that closeout section of the wave. It'll be debatable for the last of Kelly if he'll get the lead change against Caio with 19 on the clock. When we come back, Italo Ferreira will get started with Miguel Pupo. Once again, and welcome to Super Tubos here in Peniche. It is firing, best day of the waiting period so far, and we have a new heat just getting started. All Brazilian matchup, all goofy foot matchup. One is a world champ in the past as he's fighting for his 2nd world title, and also another event win here in Portugal. Italo Ferreira has accomplished a lot, but Miguel Pupo is on a roll. Coming into the inside, we've got a finish attempt from Italo. Already kicking out of his 2nd wave in a short period of time here in the round of 16.
Oh, and he would have showed up today just frothing to get out there, as I think every single competitor. This was his very first wave here again, as he drives through it completely with a ton of speed. It's actually the 2nd wave here. And then here's actually the 1st wave of this heat. So right in the first 4 minutes, he's already finding himself 2 tubes, and kind of has to dial back probably a little bit. But then, you know, when you're in the non-priority heat, that's exactly your job, is just to find anything you can. And he's already done that. 2 quick waves, 2 quick barrels, and 2 quick makes.
One of the most entertaining surfers in the world, Italo Ferreira, found the way to win for the first time at Bells Beach in Mick Fanning's retirement event. It was an emotional win. He went upstairs in the shower and almost took the door down with excitement. It was really special to see that moment for Italo, and I think it was actually really fitting for Mick Fanning. He saw the joy and the energy that Italo was letting go of, and actually gave Mick closure to move on to the next chapter, as we see a wipeout in the pit for Miguel Pupo. Pupo popping up there, had the and the broken board.
Bummer. Not a way to start a heat. Have that. Now you got to swim in. There's not going to be the assist that we see in Hawaii, so he's going to have to get himself in. This is almost a little bit of a technique. He's going to use his hand plane to get in.
Smart move. Well, that didn't really work out too well.
But at least he's getting pushed towards his beach. I mean, this is just as easily you could get sucked in a rip and you're out to sea, you know. And again, they're not going to get use of that jet ski assist. It's much more physically demanding here in Portugal because of that. We've used skis in the past, but not here at Super Tubos.
So we had that wave before we went to break of Kelly, where he had the make and then got shut down by the end of the wave. It was counted as complete. 8.17 for this one.
Nice, and he has nice size set wave, super deep. From behind it, came out. So they gave him the make for the barrel, which is what all that credit of the 8.17 is coming from.
That thing was below sea level. When he got to the bottom, it was so square. They saw him on the foam ball. It was always going to be excellent. The question was, did it count with control because of that lip landing on his head? And Kelly's thankful that was a make.
It went his way.
8.17. They dropped the high and the low, averaged the middle 3. Now he takes control of the heat against Caio. Ibelli, with priority, needs a 7.58 to answer back.
And again, right, Kyle's right there. It's not a huge ask for a 7.58. It just takes the right wave. Quick board switch. 40 minutes, you know, in these overlapping heats, so you get the extra 10, which is helpful for situations like this.
Yeah, so Miguel Pupo taking his time, getting that backup board. Should be out there in the next couple of minutes, but Italo's just roaming free in the lineup, which is a scary feeling if you're trying to accomplish a win over that guy.
Almost feels like that's the pace, though, that, oh, we'll get back to that.
Bottom's chopping out deep for Caio Ibelli. Spit like we haven't seen this morning.
Unbelievable. I thought that was going to be a turn of this heat. Once again, super square. Looked like a complete and easy make, but it just woofed him and swallowed him whole. See if we can get what happens here. I mean, he's deep. He's pumping right there. You see how that crease came up? The bottom of the barrel just came up and swallowed him up. Oh, heartbreak.
Let's hear from Griffin with Louisa.
Conditions were changing so much.
Me, and I'm not putting pressure on myself, you know, no matter what happens in my life, like, I'll be happy. Even if I had to go back and grind it out on the challengers, it's all good. I'm still doing what I love with my friends, so yeah, it's all good.
You're currently on 27th. What kind of results are you looking for here at Super Tubos?
You know, I want to win, yeah.
He had to sell himself on it.
Of course, guys. It's obvious. Let's get back to you.
Okay.
Congratulations.
Thank you, Louisa. Griffin Colapinto is always entertaining in the water and on land. He's got one of the funnest personalities on tour, pulling in under the hood with some speed. Caio Ibelli gets the make, and now casually just surfing this thing through the inside. Such an amazing tube rider. He'll just quickly whip that end section, but he's down. Missed opportunity on the bottom and out right where he fell on. Gets a completion there. But remember, he's looking for a big score of a 7.58.
He was outside of priority to get that wave, so that was a bit of a gift. And it's going to be a pretty good number. I don't know if it goes all the way there. Let's take a look again. Not the hugest wave, but super deep. That was Kelly. So he gets a quick one. Watching the technique once again. One of the best in the world on the backhand barrel. He uses so many different body types using the same kind of technique with the hand on the rail, but he can get forward, he can stall.
Finishing move for Italo Ferreira complete. A lot of action here in the overlapping format. And a lot different from a point break or even the reefs that we started off the season on. It's scattered peaks down the beach, so a lot of action when you've got 2 heats going at the same time. We've got scores for every single surfer that are yet to come in. Pupo broke his board. He's back in the water now. This is what Italo just did.
Nice size set wave, deep behind it, quickly through it. And see how he carries his speed, completely transitions to a whole nother wave to get the floater for the finish. Judges have been liking if you can get those maneuvers after the barrel. That's that combination, barrel to turns. They've been paying dividends for it. Big frothy float, no worries for him to pull it down. Stomps it easily. This is that wave we were talking about. Look at the forward momentum that he had, leaning completely forward. That allowed him to go through that full section for Caio. Just didn't get the final move to get the finish. Probably would have added another half point there if he'd gotten up and over it.
Scores in for Caio, last left, a 6.13. Not enough for the lead, still needs a 7.58. As you see all the fans here wide awake on Sunday. They're trying to find a place to park, hiking down the trail. It's a bit of a commitment to get all the way down here to where the wave is from where you park. But now everyone knows it's pumping. Kelly's in the water, Pupo's in the barrel. After the board change, he'll get a solid tube ride to get into the heat with Italo.
All technique to be able to find that maximized 2 time.
Italo trying to find a way to get out. That one's gonna shut down on him.
See how Miguel was able to get onto that front rail and almost the stalling technique dropping in. You know, rather than being on the edge trying to get the extra speed, he just fell into the barrel.
Such a cool style and approach for Pupo, and I like that he got a bigger wave, a bigger barrel to pull into. Let's take another look.
See the stall there, he had everything armed, toes, hanging over the edge of the rail to slow him down. Didn't want to outrun it.
It's interesting with board choice. You know, we know Kelly opted for that quad even in yesterday's conditions. It's all up to the individual surfer on what they want to ride, but sometimes when you're trying to put on a show for the judges and be extra deep, some surfers like Owen Wright will say, well, I don't want a board going so fast that I'll outrun the tube. You want to have the right equipment so you can actually slow things down when you need to and get as deep as you can.
Well, and I think you position yourself on waves depending on the equipment you have under your feet. I mean, for Kelly, for example, he knows how that quad, where it'll squirt, where he'll get the speed, where he needs to be in order to maximize the barrel time.
Let's now catch up with Stephen Bell on the beach with Louisa.
Yeah, guys, all these years with Kelly Slater, do you have any insights you can share with?
Enjoying life, and I think he realises it's a great life, and why stop? He compares a lot to golf, and golfers go through their professional career and go into the seniors tour, and we've spoken a bit. He goes, why stop this when he's winning and having a good time, and is it generally enjoying it? Days like today when the conditions are fantastic, it's pretty easy to come to work.
No magic tricks?
No magic tricks, not that I know of. Nah, gets out of bed every morning, puts one leg in the trousers like everybody else does, and no, he's good. We had a good week. This is more of a family week for me. I got Leo down here with Kelly, and so it's not so much pressure. Just have a good time and hopefully get a few more tubes.
Amazing. Let's see. We're all watching here, guys. Let's keep watching.
Thanks so much, Louisa. Always great to catch up with Stephen Bell. He's an incredible human being, and he's been in Kelly's corner for a long time. It's not really a working relationship, it's family. They absolutely love each other, and Kelly does feel really light behind the scenes, doesn't he, Pete?
He does. He's in a good space, which is nice to see, you know, and I think that, you know, this is the part of his life that he it's not like he needs more stuff, right? more accolades. It's already there, and so anything that happens at this point, every heat win is just gravy. And I think the biggest drive is surfing waves like this in front of the crowds. You know, so it's enjoyable for him. You know, and the people love it. We love it. So keep it going.
There's
keeping
so
it
many,
at a high level. I mean, look, he's still here and totally relevant.
Well, it's interesting because there's so many people that have hit him up, even personal friends over the past 15 years saying, hey, I think this is a good time for you to walk out. There seems to be this importance, especially people who really care about him, going, hey, your legacy is amazing. Drop out while you just dominated, but while you're world #1, even win a world title and then say that's it. But for Kelly, it's like, hey, if I'm still winning, he still wants to be here. And I think we're really thankful that he hasn't made that decision over the years, winning events at Pipeline, even more recently in Tahiti, towards the latter stages of his career as we see what happened here, Pete.
Put everything forward, trying to get down and under, but that one never really had any entry. It didn't really have any exit. And it is starting to drain the tide, so it's going to start, understandably, it's going to get a little bit weird. The mid-tide cleans everything up, but now the rips are going to be pulling out. So it's, even though we may be able to surf through this, and fingers crossed that we can, and there's still enough quality there, but it is going to be that low tide. It's going to be a little bit more challenging.
Kelly Slater, think about the injury that he had at J-Bay in 2017. He hasn't really had like a complete season in a fairly long period of time. You think that injury that took him out for quite a while, then he'd do like certain events here and there where he hadn't really felt a full committed season for a bit. Even last year, semifinals at Pipe, missed the Aussie leg. He only surfed 3 events last season to requalify. With Jordy Smith looking at the lineup at Super Tubos, he's preparing for Connor O'Leary, a 3-time runner-up at this event. And Connor, just about the same size as Jordy with build. Big guys, regular versus goofy. That's going to be fun to watch.
Sure is. Especially Connor being able to turn it on yesterday to get through a close heat. And Jordy, with all the success he's had here at Super Tubos, they're both feeling pretty darn confident at the moment.
So tide still draining for another hour.
Yeah.
How you feeling about that, Pete?
Well, again, I think it's just a matter. They'll keep an eye on it as long as there's scoring opportunities happening. It is going to be challenging no matter what with this lower tide.
As Caio takes a look, he pulls in nice and deep. He has so much speed, he'll make it. Steps up quickly because he's trying to manage his time against Kelly. A smaller insider, but he had a lot of speed, showing off that tube riding ability. But you compare it to Kelly's 817, which was pretty dramatic and had a lot more size. Pulling in nice and deep, Miguel Pupo will get spit out. Nice clean roundhouse cut back, and he'll fall on the rebound. But Pupo had the 417 before, chasing a 716 for the lead over a former world champ.
I think he'll match Italo's best at the 6.5, might surpass it. The wave was a bit more hollow, but then again, Italo had the maneuver to finish. Remember that barrel, it's a big float at the end. So the fall will probably affect this score, so it may come underneath that, but wow, that barrel was pretty nice. You see again, great technique with all the forehand stalling, maximizing the barrel time. Came out clean. It didn't go in any white watery section, came out with the spit.
Had me think of the Hobgoods, the way he was pulling in and arm barring that wave on his forehand. This one's draining down the line, and Kelly finds an exit before it closes out.
Trying to better the 6.4. And the angle we had on it looked like he was pretty darn deep, but again, left us with a little question mark at the very end. See that? See how he is doing the exact same thing. He's got the handbrake on. And he does kind of show, but right there at the bottom, poof, knocked him off balance. I don't know if we'll see it go into that 6.4 range to better his situation. Be close.
Staying incredibly active is Kelly Slater, catching 9 waves in the matchup against Caio Ibelli. Remember, both tied 1 apiece in their history that is really focused on 2019. Caio with the win at Margaret River, Kelly with the win later that season at Jeffreys Bay. Both having great starts to the year, sitting inside the top 5 picture for the time being. and also with an outside shot at that yellow jersey here at Portugal. Chasing a 7.58 was Caio, his last wave of 4.4. Kelly Slater's last is going to be a throwaway as well. Caio does have priority. The waves are pumping, so he's got a good shot at trying to turn this one around. Meanwhile, Italo will get shacked. Gets the make off the bottom, an aggressive float, and he gets it.
Again, the barrel to maneuver always gets the judges excited, especially when you lip line float going 150 miles an hour like Italo was just doing. That was sketchy. And he just landed, no worries. And all of his work that he's been doing to do his maneuvers with such high rates of speed has trained him right for doing this kind of stuff.
5 seconds, Caio's last opportunity. He still has some room and just makes it at the end.
Oh boy.
Caio Ibelli has one more score to come through.
Crazy.
As they have run out of time.
Never gives up, does he?
Left chasing a 7.58 for Kelly. He was sitting out the back, so he just has to wait and see what Caio accomplished through the inside.
Well, we'll take a look at the replay here. Definitely deep. The only thing I think that may affect it, intensity of the wave. You know, in comparisons to, say, the 8 that we saw from Kelly, much bigger wave, much more intense of a wave. This one kind of a running one. You see again from behind it, but look how deep he is and how long it is. And that's really where the massive amounts of the points are going to come from. Taking a look one more time from behind it, great technique. And he was doing everything to put his foot on the gas pedal to get through it. He did it. And he's going to make the judges think here.
Well, one thing it was an incredible heat. Back and forth shootout with Caio and Kelly. Caio had the 7 on his third wave. Showed off how talented he is in the tube. But the game changer was really Kelly when the bottom dropped out on the right and he got detonated by the closeout, getting credit for an excellent range tube. Really made things difficult for Caio. Scores coming through for last at Ibelli, that long draining right, a 6.37. Not enough. Kelly Slater moves on to the round of 16 to surf again, potentially today at Super Tubos here in Portugal. Back for more action right after this.